Welcome back to our Fox Sports 2022 USFL Coaches Series. And today we talk with USFL Tampa Bay Bandits coach Todd Haley. In our conversation, we talk about his time as head coach at Kansas City, being the offensive coordinator on a team that made an appearance in the Super Bowl at Arizona, what it was like for him to be offensive coordinator at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team of his childhood, and why did he choose to join the USFL? All right, let's go talk to Coach Haley. Welcome back to our USFL Fox Sports 2022 Coaches Series, and I'm pleased to be joined by Tampa Bay Bandits head coach Todd Haley. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be on here talking about what we're doing.
And I'm excited to talk with you, Coach. I want to start with a question that I have given all of the coaches so far, but let me set this up just a little bit. You've been a head coach in the NFL. You worked for Bill Parcells and Mike Tomlin. You were an offense coordinator at Arizona for their last trip to the Super Bowl. You've coached Keyshawn Johnson, Jamal Charles, Larry Fitzgerald, Kurt Warner, and you most recently made a stop at Riverview High School. I got to ask, why did you want this opportunity to coach the Tampa Bay Bandits in the USFL?
Well, I love the high school experience. I worked with great guys, great kids, totally different than my 20 plus years in the NFL. A totally different level of football, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, worked with some great guys, had success, loved the kids. You got to make an impact on younger people, younger men. But I missed that adrenaline juice of professional football. I was out for 2.5, 3 years, high school and doing some serious radio on the NFL channel. So, when Daryl Johnson called me, it was an exciting opportunity. Now that I'm here, going through meetings, I got a great coaching staff. I made sure to include a lot of guys that mean a lot to me. My general manager director is Joey Clinkscales. My dad drafted him with the Steelers in the 80s. My secondary coach is Carnell Lake. My dad drafted him with the Steelers in the 80s. We worked together for 6 years when I was in Pittsburgh. Pepper Johnson, my defensive coordinator, I coached him with the Jets. I was on offense, but he was playing linebacker for the Jets and Bill Parcells. Pat Perlis and I were ball boys together with the Steelers, being driven to the team meal and then the Three Rivers Stadium by Tom Moore for 4, 5, 6 years. Lived across the street from me. His dad was George Perlis, who was on the coaching staff. So Bob Saunders and I were together. He's my coordinator, offense coordinator. We were together with the Browns. He and Frank Gans Jr. shared an office in Arrowhead with the Chiefs. There's great connections. And really my point being, I've been in a couple meetings here. We're just getting started. This doesn't necessarily translate to wins, but I had a meeting yesterday that gave me goosebumps the entire time we were in there coaching these guys. These guys are hungry. They understand. They want to achieve their hopes and dreams. It is a great group of guys, great personality. And really, I had probably in all my time in football, the best meeting yesterday that I've ever had.
Coach, that brings me such joy. Number one, that you had those goosebumps. But number two, I looked at your staff when it was announced and I said, holy crap, man. Like, I'm young enough and old enough to remember Carnell Lake winning AFC Defensive Player of the Year. I am young enough and old enough to remember Pepper Johnson playing on that same side of the football as Lawrence Taylor and what he's been able to do with Coach Belichick in New England. I got to say, I was really impressed with your staff. And you mentioned how you grew up and where you grew up, but I want to come back to Riverview for just a second here and ask, what did you learn, if anything, about coaching high school football as opposed to coaching professional football?
Well, I've been known as kind of a hothead, hardliner, old school coach, and that's the way I was raised, growing up watching Chuck Noll coach those Steeler teams, Coach Carnell, Coach Joey Clinkscales, my father. And then 8 years with Bill Parcells, you learn how to be kind of an old school coach. In high school, when I'm the one saying these coaches are crazy, they're yelling, they're screaming. And when I become the players coach, then you've made some you've had some growth. When I'm the one patting them on the butt saying, it's okay. It's okay. You had growth. So I think more than anything, just balance. But every stop I've had, I mean, I think, I always think of Sean Payton. He's with John Gruden for a long time. Then he was with Bill Parcells. And when I watched Sean coach, and we were together in Dallas, I always said to anybody that listened, Sean took the good things from the great coaches he was with. I've been blessed, to be trained by Bill Parcells, Dan Henning, Romeo Crennel, all those guys, Dick Duran, Mike Tomlin, in a different day and age. He's a phenomenal head coach. This is a different day and age with the internet and phones and everything. I mean, it's different than when I started. So, I think the key to being a good coach, number one, put your players in the best position to succeed. And if they believe you're doing that, you got them. You got them. But number two, in this day and age, you have to handle them different. So, dealing with high school kids, parents, I've never had to deal with parents before. Twitter, social media, all the different things. I mean, it was a great experience and one that I'll cherish.
I'm excited to hear you say that, Coach. Like, I don't normally get to hear that from a person who has accomplished so much in their professional life. And then knowing how I personally feel about high school football and high school football players, that warms my heart. I do want to go and talk a little bit about you and your high school football, but let's start with this. Your father, Dick Haley, spent 43 years in the NFL, with just south of 20 of those working as director of player personnel with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're talking about guys he drafted being alongside Franco Harris, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Mike Webster, goodness me, John Stallworth, Lynn Swan. What did you learn from him about? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I am a blessed person. First and foremost, my father, who's struggling with dementia now, he remembers the old things. So I can bring up old Steeler moments, memories, people, and he's good. But, I got to work with him with the Jets for 6 years as an intern, scout, area scout, pro scout. Those are times, again, that you can never take away from me. The more I went into football after that and got around different people, I realized just how good he was. He didn't solely draft 13 Hall of Famers. There was a lot of people involved in that, but he's a phenomenal talent evaluator. Bill Parcells has said many times, this is the best general manager I've ever worked with, because he worries about the coaches. Hey, what kind of players do you want? You see the push and pull a lot in the NFL. That's why Joey Clinkscales is part of our team here, because somebody that I worked alongside of as a scout out on the road, going to college workouts, going to visits, doing all those things. So, what he said that probably most impacted me is when I became a head coach. He said in an interview that a lot of people throw the word great around. But Todd was working side by side with true greatness. Mel Blount, Franco, you named them all. I mean, Terry Bradshaw, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Larry Brown, Donnie Shell. And I appreciated that very much, because you'll go in a scouting meeting and guys say he's great, and I'm like, whoa, hold on. I've seen greatness. He's good. He's really good, but I don't know if we can just throw great around too much.
Well, it's interesting to hear you say that, because I've heard that criticism more now in the last 6 months than I had before of how we use this term great. But I kind of want to investigate this just a little bit in as far as talent evaluation, because you'll know better than most folks that fans, including myself, we have our own thoughts and opinions about who can play and who cannot. Can you give us some insight into what it is that you are looking for, not just from a physical standpoint, but from an intellectual standpoint? What are the traits that make a guy a professional football player?
Well, I think, what Joey and I did when we went through this process, because we weren't in a position where you have all the film at your fingertips. The number one thing we were worried about was getting good characters. Okay, that's number one. If you have a bad character on your team, even if he's a great player, it's going to be a problem in some ways or another. But high character guys that care. I was saying this also. We get on the bus to come back from practice. Every player that walked up those steps, I'm sitting in the front seat. Every player got on and said, "Coach, blessed, grateful to be here." You want guys that care about football. That yes, is there money to be made? Is there giant contracts thrown around? But generally, the people getting those, they really care about football. They love football, and then it comes down to ability. The interesting thing about this is, I'm out on the field and been in the NFL for a very long time. And what struck me is just how hard it is to make it in the NFL, because I'm looking at guys on this field that I would say I would take him on whatever team I've been on and let him compete, and they should have a shot. So there's guys that are so hungry and really are on the line of being good enough. A lot of guys on our team right now, Bandits, I believe, should have a shot to play in the NFL. Now, they love being here, but I think the big thing is just how hard it is to make it in the NFL. I mean, these are the best of the best. There's only so many spots. And now this is my first time experiencing a different league like I am right now, but I'm recognizing there's a lot of really good football players out there that are probably sitting at home not getting an opportunity.
I, too, was amazed to look at this draft pool and see who was in it and who hasn't had the opportunity that they want just yet to play in an NFL football game. And this league is filled with talent, as it is with its coaching staff. Again, referencing yours, I looked at it and was just in awe of it. But you grew up as a ball boy, as you said, with the Steelers. After 16 years in the NFL, what was it like for you to get a phone call from Mike Tomlin going, "Hey, I want you to be the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers"?
Dream come true. I actually, growing up in Pittsburgh, I bled black and yellow. When the Steelers, there was not a lot of money involved in it back then, but when the Steelers won a Super Bowl, we had a little better Christmas. But like I said, there was not about money back then. It wasn't about money when I started my journey as an NFL coach. I mean, Bill Belichick was on our Jets staff. I think he was the highest paid assistant, and he was making $150,000 or something like that. Things have changed a lot. The money's a lot bigger. That's great for everybody, but it also can create some problems. Bill Cowher offered me a job back in 2004. I went with loyalty to Bill Parcells, who went to Dallas and offered me a job. So I missed that opportunity. I thought maybe it would never come back. I got fired at the Chiefs, spent a little time with Mike T in Mobile, Alabama. That was supposed to be a little quick cursory interview that turned into about a 4-hour visit in his hotel room. We hit it off immediately. When I got offered that job, that was a very big deal for me. The funny part of it is, I grew up in the South Hills. Now everybody lives in the North Hills because of the tunnels. Nobody wants to go through the tunnels versus, during the traffic time. So my wife, who's phenomenal football wife, when you change jobs, they're on the internet finding schools, houses, all that. And she kept talking about the North Hills. And I'm like, no, Chrissy, we're going to be in the South Hills. So we moved back to our neighborhood. My kids went to my schools. I got 5 kids, grade schools, middle schools, high schools. So it really special going to watch my kids compete at fields that I played on and different sports. Just so grateful for that time. I mean, the Rooneys, phenomenal family. To be back in Pittsburgh for 6 years, we did not climb to the top of the mountain. We were very close. We did a lot of great things, but to walk in there and see my dad's team picture on the wall every single morning, there's no way to express. And there wasn't one day that I walked in that I did, because they got all the team photos on one wall as you walk in every year, going way back to when they started. There wasn't a day I didn't look at his team pictures when he was there.
Right on. No, that's awesome. I mean, for me, that's what life is about. Is being able to go home and feel as if you've accomplished something, but also that you are giving something back to the place that helped raise you and helped bring you up. One of the coaches in this league you actually worked with on staff, and that'd be Pittsburgh Maulers coach Kirby Wilson. And when I talked to Coach Wilson, he gave me this quote about you. Said, Todd is one of the more creative coaches I've ever been around. And I've told a lot of people in our profession that one thing I've always admired about Todd is that he's not afraid. He's not afraid. He's not conservative in play calling. And Todd is not afraid to take a chance on an opportunity on something that he believes in. My question to you is, do you think of yourself as being fearless in play calling?
I don't know. You hold your backside a bunch when you're calling plays, depending on what the play is, because the plays really. And I just told the players this. Everybody's calling generally the same plays. It's about the players executing, doing their job, doing it at a high level. Now there are situations where you're a little more aggressive. I love working with Kirby, and it's very nice of him to say that about me. Mike Tomlin always had a saying, you can't live in your fears. Now that's rare coming from a defensive coach. I've worked for defensive coaches that are very conservative. Mike T is not that. There are times where I had to pull back on him, where he's like, let's go for it or take the shot, whatever it is. And I said, when I'm being the conservative one, that's pretty impressive, especially with a defensive coach. But he'd come in my office and say, Todd, we're not living on our fears today. We're gonna go after him. And me being an aggressive type personality, but I'm not saying when I call play, I'm not holding my breath while it's being executed. It's easy to call the play. It's hard to have the success. And again, that goes back to your trust in your players and really believing that they're going to execute whatever play you call.
You had some success at Kansas City, even as we talk about what they've been able to achieve the last 5 years. You really put them on a track to be able to do what they're doing later. You and Michigan Panthers coach Jeff Fisher had some battles as head coaches in the AFC too. What do you remember of playing against those Tennessee Titans, and perhaps something about, I don't know, completing the best turnaround in franchise history with a win against the Titans to clinch the AFC West division? First one in 7 years, Kansas City.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I mean, they hadn't won a lot of games, so turning an organization around is a very difficult job. I've been again blessed. Bill Parcells. I'm a scout with the Jets when we won one game with Rich Kotite. I saw Bill Parcells and his group come in, and then was fortunate enough to be hired as a quality control. But I saw the pain and suffering it takes to turn around a losing group. I went to Chicago. I think they'd won 4 games. We won 13 in 2001. Dallas. It was a turnaround operation where a fumbled snap from Tony Romo on a field goal that probably would have given us a great chance to play in the Super Bowl. Arizona, a team that had never, had been in the playoffs one time. We take it to the precipice of, winning a Super Bowl. We're winning the game with a minute, whatever was left, minute 25, whatever the number, minute 54. So I've been part of those turnarounds. Kansas City, I'm very proud of everything that I was able to accomplish there. We led the league in rushing after leading the league in passing in Arizona, or being right up there 1, 2, or 3, having 3,000-yard receivers and Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald, and Steve Breston. So I think, the things I'm most proud of are you got to, and what has been instilled in me by the great coaches I've been around and my father is, the players aren't going to change. You got to put them in the best position to succeed and do what they do best. So to lead the league in rushing one year with Jamal Charles, Thomas Jones, Dexter McCluster, lead the league in passing with great receivers and a quarterback. I think that's what coaching is about. Jeff Fisher, I saw him in St. Louis a bunch of years too. We played the preseason every single year against St. Louis. So I've known Jeff a long time. I'm really excited to be able to spend time with him in this setting. because we are all in the same hotel and bumping elbows all the time, whether it's an elevator, a meeting, lunch, dinner, breakfast, ping pong, whatever it is. But I'm very proud of my Kansas City time. When you're part of turning an organization in the right direction, it's very, very fulfilling. And yeah, I mean, now you got Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid obviously is awesome. We did it with people that a lot of people didn't talk about a bunch. Matt Castle, quarterback. You win 10 games, win the division, and really had a chance to beat the Ravens in the playoffs. We blew it, but very proud of that time.
Question I had about another quarterback that actually spends time in Kansas City is the one that you took number 1 for the Tampa Bay Bandits. What did you like about Jordan Ta'amu, and what has he shown you so far in training camp?
Well, I mean, a very productive college quarterback at Ole Miss. Big, smart, great kid, great parents. Both his parents are pastors now from Hawaii. He's a very interesting guy. Not the most vocal, but has the arm, has the ability. He's one of those guys that you'd say, why is he not in an NFL team, at least competing for a spot on the roster? So really excited to have him. How it all played out is awesome. When you get the guy that most every other team wants, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Coach, I have 3 questions for you. I give to all of the coaches, so we're not singling you out. Please do the best you can. We'll see what you come up with. The first one is, who is the best offensive player in the league, or could be the best offensive player in the league, not on the Tampa Bay Bandits?
That's too tough of a question. I'm just still learning my guys' names.
So if I give you the defensive player, you probably say the same thing.
The same thing.
Okay,
I mean, I am worried about us, worried about our guys. This is so new to me. I've never been a part of one of these leagues. It is ground up. I mean, it is from ground zero building up. The draft was a phenomenal experience, but one that when we finished, we're, not like we're high-fiving. I mean, we were happy. We drafted big schools, guys that have been in legit situations, good guys. But it's not like we said, oh, we had the best draft. We liked our quarterback. It was great to hear guys on the phone when you made that pre-draft phone call right before you picked them, and guys crying. There was emotion, passion. Those are all good things, but I'm worried about me and the Tampa Bay Bandits right now.
Well, Coach, I just want to let you know that I have been healthy. My weight's good. My knees are in shape. I've been staying at the gym. I've been lifting down the street here at the Lifetime. I'm in good shape and ready to go.
All right. Sign the USFL contract. We'll put you in the pool.
Thank you. That is USFL Tampa Bay Bandits coach Todd Haley. Coach, thank you so much.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 Ranked Show YouTube channel.